I stepped out of the courthouse with nothing but the clothes on my back and a battered manila envelope stuffed with legal papers that made one thing official. I had lost everything. My ex-wife had just walked away with our $3.4 million mansion, half of everything I'd earned, and a satisfied little smile, like she'd just won a private game. As we pushed through the heavy glass doors, she leaned in close. For a second, I thought she might whisper something about the years we'd shared, maybe a memory, maybe regret. But she didn't. She locked her eyes on mine and breathed a single word into my ear. "You're pathetic." That word hit harder than anything her attorney said inside. She drifted away with Mason, my best friend since I was 20, walking at her side. He didn't look back. I carried the envelope like a weight down to the parking structure, climbed into my truck, and just sat there. My hands gripped the wheel, but my breath came shallow, like I'd forgotten how lungs worked. When I finally started the engine, I couldn't drive home. Home wasn't mine anymore. I rolled north, away from the city, until I found a diner off Route 9. I tucked the truck behind it, curled into the driver's seat, and tried to figure out how 30 years had unraveled into this. Near midnight, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost let it ring out, but something in my gut said to pick up. "Mr. Hart," a calm voice said. European accent, soft and precise. "We've been trying to reach you for 15 years. This is Adler Private Banking Group in Zurich. We believe you are the rightful heir to an account belonging to Victor Hart." I froze. Uncle Victor had disappeared nearly 2 decades ago, leaving behind nothing but rumors and silence. The voice read an account number. Then, "The balance is $47 million. I pressed the phone harder against my ear, certain I'd misheard. The man added, "There is something you need to know about how it came to be there. My name is Daniel Hart. I'm 51 years old, and until last year, I thought I had a good life. Not rich, but solid. I spent 3 decades in construction, swinging a hammer, laying foundations, bending rebar in the cold. Every dollar came from sweat and bruised knuckles. I believed in loyalty, in family, in waking up before sunrise and collapsing into bed bone-tired. I thought that was enough to hold a life together. Lila and I met as teenagers. We married when I was 21. She had a fire in her eyes, a way of lighting up a room without saying much. Back then, we had almost nothing, just a 1-bedroom near Poughkeepsie, second-hand furniture, and oversized dreams. I took every job I could find, roofing, framing, remodels, while Lila worked days at a diner and studied nursing at night. We were a team. We celebrated our first tax refund like it was a lottery win. We built credit, bought a beat-up house, and poured ourselves into fixing it. I worked until my fingers split, and she brought me lemonade and sandwiches, sitting on the porch with me while we planned the future. Eventually, I started my own crew. Word spread. Jobs got bigger. Then I landed a city contract that changed everything. We went from scraping by to having real stability. That's when I surprised her with the mansion. Not a glass palace, but a stately brick estate in Westchester County. Ivy on the walls, tall trees guarding the lot, 5 bedrooms, a wine cellar we never used, a garden she promised to fill with lavender but never did. It cost $3.4 million. I paid most of it in cash, financed the rest. I thought I was giving her a dream. She called it a real home. But after that, something shifted. Lila joined a country club group, then a charity board. Her hair was always perfect. Conversations turned from dinner at home to vineyard tours and galas. I told myself it was normal, people grow, tastes change. I thought I just needed to catch up. I spent weekends with my daughter Brooke. She's 23 now, brilliant, stubborn like me. We watched movies, fished off docks, took the dogs for long walks. My mother Nora still lived in the same little house outside Kingston. Every Sunday, I brought her to the mansion for dinner, even when Lila frowned about it. And then there was Mason, my closest friend. We'd built decks together, hauled furniture, hunted deer, sat under stars with cold beer in hand. When my father died, Mason held my mother's hand through the funeral, while I stood silent. I trusted him more than I trusted my own brothers. I would have taken a bullet for him. Which made what came next all the sharper. It was a Thursday. I always tried to get home early on Thursdays. I'd just wrapped up a cedar deck job in Syracuse, boots caked in mud, back screaming, and I'd picked up Lila's favorite cannoli from White Plains on the way. I thought maybe we could sit outside, talk like we used to. When I pulled into the driveway, Mason's truck was by the garage. Not unusual, but the house was too quiet, the air too still. Inside, the kitchen smelled like cleaner, not food. From upstairs came a muffled laugh, hers, that laugh she used to give me when I tickled behind her knees. I climbed the stairs slowly. Each step felt heavier. At the bedroom door, I heard Mason's voice, then hers again. I opened the door. There they were, my wife and my best friend. Mason scrambled for a shirt. Lila didn't move. She crossed her legs, adjusted her hair, and in the calmest voice I'd ever heard from her said, "You're early." I turned and walked out. No shouting, no fists. I sat on a stack of plywood in the garage and stared at the floor until the clock lost meaning. By morning, the cannoli was in the trash. By noon, Lila had filed for divorce. I offered to settle quietly. She laughed. "You're the builder, not the brain. Let the court decide." She hired Donovan, cold, precise, shark-eyed. He shredded me in court, claimed I was unstable, controlling, neglectful, dragged out old subcontractor disputes, twisted texts, painted me as a tyrant. 9 months of hearings later, the ruling came. The mansion, hers. Most of the savings, hers. Retirement split. What I kept, my tools, my truck, a sparse rental. I wasn't surprised, just numb, like I'd been watching someone else's tragedy on a stage. That's how I ended up on those courthouse steps with her whisper in my ear. Pathetic. That night in my truck, when the banker's call came, I almost didn't answer. "Is this Daniel Hart?" "Who's asking?" "This is Adrian Mueller with Adler Private Banking Group, Zurich. We've attempted to reach you for years. Are you the nephew of Victor Hart?" "Uncle Victor, my father's older brother. The oddball Hart. Bentleys at Thanksgiving, cigars, crisp $100 bills for birthdays, and then vanishing again. Rumor was he moved to Europe, made a fortune, then disappeared." "Yes," I said. "Why?" "You are the sole beneficiary of a dormant account. Your uncle left instructions. Release the funds only once you were no longer married." "What funds?" $47 million. Silence. "He did not trust your spouse. His words. He said, 'Daniel must be free before he remembers who he is.'" The next morning, I booked a flight to Zurich. The bank. Zurich was gray. Ordered, postcard perfect. A black Mercedes met me at arrivals. No small talk. The driver took me through the city, up a hill overlooking Lake Zurich, and stopped before tall iron gates. Gold letters gleamed. Adler Private Banking Group. Inside smelled of leather and polish. I was led into a library-like office with mahogany shelves, a globe, and windows on the lake. A man in his early 60s entered. Warm smile, measured voice. "Mr. Hart, welcome. We've been waiting a long time." It was Miller. He poured coffee, slid a folder across the desk. Inside, notarized directives, account summaries, trust papers, and my breath caught handwritten letters. The first read. "Is greater than Danny. I know this won't make sense at first. I watched you work your life with your hands and your heart, and I'm proud of the man you became. I never trusted the woman you married. I'm sorry, but truth delayed is cruelty. Take this and build the life your bones know how to build. Uncle Victor." The second was a journal entry from years earlier. "Is greater than Daniel builds with his hands. He thinks with his heart. He will be better than I was if he doesn't let money teach him the wrong lessons." I had to set it down. My throat burned. Mueller explained Victor's strategy: liquidating properties, shifting capital across jurisdictions, insulating assets with legal privacy, not evasion protection. Then he showed me the ledger. Stocks, bonds, gold holdings, a trust owning a villa in Provence. Finally, He handed me a last envelope. Thick, heavy paper. Is greater than. If you're reading this, the worst is over. Money won't fix what broke. It's a mirror. Be careful what you reach for. Remember the crooked birdhouse you built as a boy? You sanded it until the door swung smooth. Build until the door swings true. Don't buy your way around the hinge. My signature released everything. But more than money. I left that office carrying something else. A charge. Back to America. On the flight home, I stared out the window at clouds sliding like rivers. I called my mother first. It's real, I told her. That man always knew more than he let on, Nora said. Maybe now you can breathe. I called Brooke next. She was quiet, then said, Dad, you deserve this. Just don't let it change who you are. Back in the States, I drove until the skyline disappeared. Past New York, into Tennessee, until something felt right. Nashville. There I found a ranch house. 1 story, wraparound porch, gravel drive, oak tree out front. Good bones. I bought it cash. I moved in with a duffel, my tools, and the watch my father had given me. I began rebuilding. Each day started with coffee on the porch swing I built myself. The house smelled of cedar and plastered dust. Sawhorses lived in the yard. Boone the shepherd mix I adopted dozing in their shade. Brooke visited often with her guitar. She strummed while I grilled, telling me about her dream cafe. I offered her money. She shook her head. Dad, I want to earn it. That was how I knew she'd make it. My mother stayed in Kingston. I have everything I need here, she said. And for the first time, I understood. Lila called once more. Soft-voiced, tearful, claiming regret. I listened, then told her the truth. You didn't love me when I had everything. You loved what I gave you. I forgive you, but I'll never be yours again. I hung up. Mason left a voicemail. Dan, I messed up. I should have been honest. I deleted it without finishing. Some wood you can sand, some you don't build with again. I couldn't stop building. But now my projects weren't jobs with invoices. They were gifts. I joined a veterans group, built ramps, benches, porches, for those who couldn't. Each hammer swing reminded me, the work matters, not the paycheck. Then came Victor's final request. Make something easier for someone who deserves easier. So I founded the Hart Grant, a fund for single fathers rebuilding after divorce. Rent assistance, toolkits, counseling. A second chance. The first grant went to Marcus, a welder clawing his way back to custody of his boys. When I handed him the check, he didn't say thank you. He just exhaled, like someone finally gave him air. That was thanks enough. Uncle Victor's real gift wasn't the millions. It was the truth. That money didn't heal betrayal, didn't erase pain. What it gave me was the chance to rebuild and the clarity to see what really mattered. Now, when I wake before dawn, I sit on the porch with Boone at my feet and Brooke's songs echoing in the wood. The ranch house is modest, honest, alive with the creak of boards and the smell of fresh-cut pine. It's enough, because your worth isn't measured by what you lose or what you own. It's measured by what you can rebuild when everything is stripped away. So if you're broken, if someone walked out and took everything you thought made you who you are, know this. There's a part of you they can't touch. It's still there. Dig deep. Find it. Protect it. And build around it. Let it lead you home. That was Victor's lesson. That was my inheritance. And this time, I won't waste a single moment of it.